Hello and welcome to the Titus Timeout podcast. I'm Jenny Abney-Civy, and this week I'm going to discuss balancing the fan on a series fan-powered box. We occasionally get a call about a series fan box that has air blowing out the induced air inlet. So let me start by drawing a fan box and we can look at what's happening. So we'll open up a spot for the inlet and the discharge, draw in the primary air inlet, and put a damper in it, the fan at the discharge, and this other opening is the induced air inlet. In a series fan box, the fan is in series with the primary air stream. So let's say we have 1,000 CFM of primary air coming in at 55 degrees, and you've got 1,000 CFM at the fan, and that's going to the space. So in heating, your damper will close down a little, so we'll draw this in red, and we'll say it's at 300 CFM. Now your fan is still at 1,000 CFM, so 700 CFM is going to be pulled in to the induced air inlet, and that air is going to mix with the primary air and go to the space. So before I move on, I want to point out that I drew this in red, but the 300 CFM coming in the primary air inlet is still at about 55 degree supply air temperature, and the 700 CFM is going to come in at, say, 75 degree plenum air temperature, so you'll get some blended temperature air going to the space. Okay, so let me make a little room and let's look at what happens if you have more primary air than your fan is set for. So let's draw our fan box again, our inlet, our fan, and we'll open up the inlet, the induced air inlet, and the discharge. Draw in a damper. So now let's say you're in cooling mode. Your fan is still at 1,000 CFM, but now you're bringing in 1,200 CFM primary air. So that extra 200 CFM has to go somewhere, and it's going to go out the induced air inlet because only 1,000 CFM is going to the space through the fan. So in series fan-powered boxes, your primary air flow always needs to be less than or equal to your fan airflow. So a good way to test this out is to tape some tinsel or a piece of paper on the induced air inlet and turn on the fan box. So I'm going to draw a fan box, say we've cut it down the middle and we're looking at the side, and this is the opening for the induced air inlet. If your piece of paper is being pulled into the fan box, this would mean your fan box is in heating mode or your damper has closed down some amount. So this is the red in the first picture I drew. Say this is 300 CFM primary, 1,000 on a fan, and it's pulling air into the induced air inlet. The picture I drew below is where your primary air inlet is larger than your fan CFM, and that's going to blow air out your induced air inlet. And this is a waste of energy because you're dumping this into your ceiling plenum space. When the paper hangs in a neutral position, this means your primary air and your fan are balanced. So a good way of balancing the fan on a series fan box is to put a piece of paper on the inlet, set the fan box to full cooling, and adjust the fan until the piece of paper is hanging in the neutral position. So that's what's going on in your series fan boxes and how you can balance the fan to match the primary. So I want to thank Mark Obow for suggesting this week's podcast topic. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thanks for taking the time out with us.